Oh, let's go. Happy Tuesday, my friends, and welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. And on today's episode of the Prime, we're going to be breaking down the UFL semifinal matchups that took place on Sunday, and then we're going to give you our preview of the UFL championship game, which is happening this upcoming weekend, as we try to be the number one hub for all things UFL. So if you like what we're doing here at Prime Sports World, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point Huffman. My co-host right there, Mr. T.J. Hopkins in the house. Happy Tuesday, my friend. How are you?
Tired, David.
All right. I'm tired, too. I literally just woke up. I know you're about to go to sleep, but see if you can keep the energy up for the next 20 minutes. Let's talk about UFL. It's kind of a beatdown in both of these two games. We're going to talk about each of the individual matchups. Let's first start with the USFL championship game. The Michigan Panthers all over the Birmingham Stallions, 44-29. And every time it seemed like Birmingham was going to get back into this game, the Michigan Panthers closed the door. They're like, nah. Tua Tagovailoa had 3 touchdowns in this game. Bryce Perkins returned for the Michigan Panthers and had a virtuoso almost performance for him as well. Michigan 44, Birmingham 29. Jamar Smith, who was the starting quarterback for the Birmingham Stallions, was benched in the second quarter for Matt Corral. With mixed results from Corral. Like he threw a bad pick. I don't really understand the decision to bench Jamar Smith. Like, go with the guy who got you there. And the game wasn't so out of hand at that point. I mean, it was 21-6, but I just don't really understand the decision to bench Jamar Smith for a guy who hasn't played in 7 weeks and has been basically just hasn't played at all. So Harrison Beavis, Northeast Indiana legend over here, had a 56-yard field goal in a losing effort, but this really was a pretty much wire-to-wire victory for the Michigan Panthers and a kind of a revenge game for Michigan as they've gotten beaten by this team 8 times in a row. Bryce Perkins, 20 of 25, 238 yards and a touchdown. Tua Tagovailoa, 3 touchdowns. Bryce Perkins also had a rushing touchdown. On the other side, Matt Corral, 12 of 25, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Jamar Smith, 4 for 10 and a touchdown and a pick. Maribel had a rushing touchdown. Jordan Thomas, who's a man among boys in this league a little bit, at the tight end position, 2 touchdowns for him. Malik Turner had a touchdown for the Michigan Panthers in the receiving game. But this is basically a wire-to-wire dominance. And the offensive line for the Birmingham Stallions really let them down in this game as they just couldn't protect no matter who the quarterback was. Or they couldn't really run the ball effectively either. So
this is kind of a revenge game. If this isn't a revenge game, then I don't know what the fuck a revenge game is then.
A revenge game. Yeah, a payback game. Michigan, Birmingham has had Michigan's number, I think, the last 8 matchups before this one, and to get this victory, it's got to feel good for that.
To be 0-7 against this team, 0-7. You didn't you played this team 7 times, you lost 7 times. That's absolutely on your mind going into this game. It's also kind of why you put up 44 points on their head. Like, a point had to be proven. Like this, like.
Well, they also dominated time possession by almost 10 minutes. They also ran the ball for 144 yards in this game. Like, this was a absolute just a grind them up, beat them up game. And for Michigan, yeah, this is a good victory to get the Bugaboo and move into the championship game.
I mean, it's a great victory because it's just like no matter how good this team has been in the past or bad, however you want to shape it, eventually you knew that at some point you was gonna run into this team and you were gonna lose. Especially going back to last season, like you had a 17-point lead against them
Yeah,
last season, and they walked you down and took the lead, and you lost that game. And you kind of got that here we go again symptom in this game because you was up big, then they scored, then you fumble, then they get the ball, then they score again. Then it's a one possession game. And then after they got that touchdown after the fumble, they don't score again. You score the next like 14 to 15 points. And this is like, yeah, this ain't last year, this ain't happening again, so on and so forth. It was
yeah. They made they scored it early in the fourth quarter. They get the 2 point conversion, or they get that crazy touchdown by Matt Corral, and then they 34-29 and think, hey, they're going to make this interesting. And Michigan was like, nah, this isn't going to get interesting. They score a touchdown on the very next drive, on a long drive where they basically just ran it down their throats for a touchdown and then the 1 point conversion, and then they get a field goal in under 3 minutes left in the game to put them back up 15 points, and Birmingham threw a bad pick by Matt Corral after that touchdown by Michigan that set up the field goal. But yeah, this was not a good day at the office for any the decision to bench Jamar Smith, the guy who had gotten you there and kind of stabilized your quarterback room for a majority of the season. Like he has a rough a quarter and a half, and you bench him. And I understand that last year Matt Corral kind of played the hero card last season, but he at least played a little bit during the season. Like he was just ice cold. Like he wasn't coming off of playing here and there during games. Sometimes benching for spelling Adrian Martinez and spells using them in packages. He hadn't played at all. That coaching decision just got to be it's a real head scratcher.
Yeah, I'm not understanding that one either. I'm
And man, the other so when
I don't know if he was hurt.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if Jamar Smith was hurt and me personally, his play wasn't even that bad for them to be like, yeah, you're done. That's
and Matt Corral is that much better of a passer that you're like, oh, we can't if we're gonna have to pass the football to run this game, we can't. Jamar Smith can't get it done. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They both played Matt Corral that came in didn't play well at all. He did throw that really nice touchdown in the corner of the end zone. It easily could have been picked. It was just a really nice looping. I thought it was for sure going to get picked.
It's one of those it's better to be lucky than be good type plays because it was that's a play where that's 100% no he caught it. And on the defensive side,
that's how I felt watching it, man. I was like, oh, it's gonna get picked, and then somehow the guy ended up with it in the end zone. I was like, oh, all right, well.
And then on the defensive side, it's heavy on the how the hell I let that happen. It's you in position, you playing it perfectly, and then all of a sudden it's yo, how the seriously, that's how they score.
Yeah.
Really, that's the pass. All the passes he's thrown so far, that's the one that gets really, that's the one that goes for a touchdown. Great.
And after that touchdown, it really felt like Birmingham had taken some of the momentum back. You're like, hey, maybe this is going to be a different narrative. Maybe we're going to see Matt Corral go into the phone booth again and pull out this victory. But this was a different Michigan Panthers team this season, and they just weren't having it. So,
yeah, this is again,
also Kai Nakua has more touchdowns than his brother in 2025. So that's fun.
Well, one season hasn't started, so don't do that.
I know, I'm just kidding. Come on, it's funny. Don't be like that. Let's swing to the. That's funny. All right, I thought it was pretty. I thought it was a ha ha. Moving on into the other matchup, way less entertaining on the XFL side, as the St. Louis Battlehawks decided to pick the worst possible moment to have their worst game of the season when they went in, or they welcomed into DC Defenders, and this was essentially a wire-to-wire victory where DC was basically the dominant team from the very beginning. You saw there maybe was going to be an opportunity for them to sort of come back when Jordan Tiamo threw that pick when it was 14-0. St. Louis goes down, they get the touchdown on that drive, but DC, that was basically all she wrote for the rest of the remainder of that game. As DC goes on to win 36-18. And it looked like they had something there when they brought in Brandon Silvers at the quarterback position, but again, he gets hurt on the extra point attempt. I can't remember if that was in the second half. Yeah, I think it was like the beginning of the second half, and he was out for the rest of the game. But this was an absolute domination session by DC. 1 total yards by 140, 1 time possession by 2 minutes. They had 1 turnover to 2 for St. Louis, 204 passing yards, 187 rushing yards. Just an overall dominant performance by DC. And Jordan Tiamo, 18-26, 204 yards, touchdown, and a pick. Deion Jackson had 2 rushing touchdowns, and he went over the century mark. Abram Smith, 64 yards rushing. Good to see him get back into pay dirt as well. And then, Seth Williams had a touchdown as well. Akeem Butler had a really nice touchdown for the Battlehawks, the lone highlight for them for the entire day, as this offense just really could never get anything going, as they basically looked stagnant for a majority of the game, and a wire-to-wire victory for DC.
It was this game for St. Louis it was like, yo, how the hell did y'all win 6 straight? Like, it had people questioning everything. And the Boo Birds were out fast in St. Louis, to the point, like, again, Max Dugan. I want to know what Max Dugan went to school for. Like, what was his major? Like, what did he get his degree in? Because he may have to consider. He may have to consider that career change, bro. Like, it may be time, bro. Like, it may be time. When the crowd, when the fans,
he didn't look. He didn't look.
He looked good.
Like, he just didn't look poised. Like
at all. He at all. He didn't look poised at all. Like, when the crowd is calling for the backup, when the crowd is calling for Brandon Silvers to get in, like, bro, like, that's how you know it's bad. Like, and they go into halftime, and they're going into halftime, and the commentators are like he's probably gonna give Max Dugan like 1 drive, like the opening drive in the second half, and if nothing positive happens, Brandon Silvers is gonna get the ball. I didn't even watch the second half because I'm like, yo, there's no need to. Like, there was nothing.
Yeah, I watched this entire game, and I wish I had done something else with my time, because at least the second half, because there was no point. Like, St. Louis just struggled to move the football effectively. Like,
yeah, it was tough. It was tough to watch. They just couldn't get nothing going, and
you build some momentum towards the end of the second half, right? So you get 2 field goals kind of as the end of the quarter, or at the end of the half. There, you get Max McCrane gets, or I don't know if his last name is Max, but Mick McCrane, the field goal kicker, kicks a 34 1-yarder, and then they get the ball back. Oh, that's on DC. Sorry, but you're 14-6 right before halftime. Then you give up 2 field goals to wrap up the quarter, and you're down 20-6. And then you give up a long drive from DC in the second half, and you're down 26-6. And then Brandon Silvers throws a touchdown to Akeem Butler on a really nice coverage all day by DC, but Akeem Butler gets a one-handed grab for a touchdown, and you think, okay, hey, he gets injured on the 2-point conversion and doesn't play again. It's like, are you kidding me? Like,
this is like, and not to mention, like just to sum up that the day for the Battlehawks, watch DC scores, they kick it off. They fumbled the kickoff.
Yeah. Like, luckily they recovered it, man. That would have been the absolute disaster. Like
And it's just like Anthony Beck was probably like, yo, this can this be over with already? Like, can this be done? Can this please just
I mean,
be like? Can it be done? Like that was off. It was awful. It was just a
I
bad
mean,
day.
and, yeah, a bad day at the office for the St. Louis Battlehawks, and this is like you had to start to have a conversation about like this team can never seem to get over the hump. Like they make it into the playoffs every season in the UFL, and they never make it to the finals. Like they always run into some other team, or they have one like really poor performance, and they just don't show up in the final game where it matters more than anything else, and they end up going home like. On a regular every season in the UFL. So, yeah, they'll have to go. I don't know. They have to figure out the quarterback position. Like they played a weak schedule going down the stretch here, and that's really why they had the winning streak that they had. I mean, they had a game against Memphis. Like they played 2 games against San Antonio during that 6-game winning streak. I know there was a win against the Panthers and a win against Birmingham somewhere mixed into that 6-game winning streak, but they didn't play the upper echelon of the UFL during that winning streak, and that's a lot of reasons why they were able to get off to the wins because the quarterback position didn't play well. Like they wanted to have more mobility. That's kind of why they moved on from AJ McCarron, but that turned out to be kind of not a good decision. So
I mean, like I would have liked to have seen what Manny Wilkins would have done had he been healthy.
yeah.
So like they always have that in their back pocket. But once again, when you win, when you rattle off 6 straight, and I know you said like they played like the bottom tier of the league, but you only play who in front of you. You only play who your schedule say play. And because like what would we be saying had they lost those 6 games,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think like I'm with you on the quarterback thing. Like the whole AJ McCarron thing was poorly handled. I don't like how that ended. It was weird. Um, yeah, honestly, I don't know where they go from here.
Yeah, I don't think you can go back into next season with the same quarterbacks on this roster as you did this season. I think you need to do something. I think at the skill position, I think Jacob Saylor is a really good running back. I like him a lot. I like Ja'Cour Pearson. I think is a really good wide receiver. Hakeem Butler, who we talk about all the time on this show. Jake Sutherland is a pretty good tight end. Like they have some talent on the outside and like at the skill positions. And their defense was outside of this game, usually like one of the calling cards for St. Louis this season. Like usually really good, but they didn't play well at all in this game. But I also think that factors the fact that they were on the field a ton, although what felt like a ton. So like any defense is going to wear down, especially when you give up 187 yards rushing at 5.2 yards per clip. And I also think there was like a difference in philosophy for DC, right? Like DC led the league in passing yards, they led the league in passing attempts. This was a game where DC kind of changed the narrative a little bit. They ran the ball 36 times, so only 26 passes. And I also understand that this game was a bit of a blowout, and so they didn't need to throw the football. But it felt like there was like, hey, they expect us to pass the football. We're going to run it down their throats and see if they can stop it. And St. Louis couldn't
stop it. But yeah, I think that's exactly that. Right? It's hey, we're gonna do this thing. You know we're gonna do this one thing, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Like they ran. This is kind of how I've been wanting DC to play football the entire time because they put up Jordan Tiamu's numbers, like his season statistics, and when I saw that 54% completion percentage, I'm all like, and they're talking about MVP for this dude. I'm all like, this would never fly in the NFL, but this ain't the NFL.
Yeah.
54%. You have quarterbacks that complete 54% of their passes on a drive or shit like that. It's a the 36 rushing attempts to 26 pass attempts. That's your recipe for winning, DC. Don't make Jordan Tiamu into something he's not. Don't make him into something he's not. He ain't never been a gunslinger. Don't try to turn him into one now.
Yeah. Also, yeah, shout out to Bryce Perkins on the other side for the Michigan Panthers. Came back in that game after missing 2 with an ankle injury. Looked awesome in that game against Birmingham. So good to
Had
see
a
him back on the
great,
football field. Yeah, had an absolute
but
clinic
but,
of a
but
day.
at the same time, like back to that game, like you could tell he was still like quote
Yeah.
unquote bothered because there was a QB keeper that he had and he had it. He had the corner of the end zone. Like if he's one of those like hey, if he's 100%, he 100 like he definitely scores on it, and like he obviously he's not because he slid early. He got enough to get like the first down or whatever, and he slid. And the commentator's like, yeah, he's not 100%. Like he and this is not this is not DC is not a team you want to see, and you're not at your fullest.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about the UFL championship game. We got the Michigan Panthers going against the DC Defenders. This game is being played in St. Louis, where the hub is for the UFL when it comes to championship games. Just looking at some overall team numbers. So on the Michigan side, they averaged 24.5 points per game on the regular season. DC at 22.5. So not much of a huge difference there. Looking at total yards for the season, 989 total. Oh, sorry, that's passing yards. 3,500 total yards of offense for DC on the Michigan side. 3,200, so a little bit of an edge on offense when it comes to the offense for the Michigan Panthers. Just looking at defense here. 1 second. I only have offense. So, yeah, a little, yeah. DC, yeah, they gave up 3,100 on the defensive side, so a little bit more stingy on defense for DC than Michigan, who gave up 3,000. So defense a little bit better for Michigan, but offense a little bit more in the advantage of the DC defenders. TJ, what do you think are the key matchups and the key players in this matchup when it comes to the UFL championship game? And then we'll get into our final predictions.
That was stupid. Obviously, key players. Obviously, Bryce Perkins. Like you gotta see where he's at health wise. Jordan Tiamu. Is it really comes down to those two. But then, like I said, if you're not 100%, this defense is not somebody you want to see, and you're beat to hell.
Man, there was a moment like in that game against Birmingham where Braylon Speaks, who was the defensive player of the year the season before, they didn't even block him. Like he just absolutely rocked back around. Like it was like it's like you don't block the former DPOY. But
hey, that's why Michigan is here and Birmingham.
Yeah, I know.
So like it's a oh man, like in St. Louis, you really got to be kicking yourself because this game is in your house. Can you imagine if St. Louis made it? Oh my god. Anyway,
well, I mean the championship game was in St. Louis last season too, and they dropped the ball and ended up losing to San Antonio to the Brahmas last season.
Again, like it's still kicking yourself. You hosting your stadium is hosting the thing, and you can't even get that.
Yeah.
Really, because of his health, and I really don't know where his health is with Bryce Perkins because it's. I think. How can I phrase this? I think because of having Jordan Tiamu having to practice against him, there's like there's an element like they're gonna be ready for his mobility. and like DC's gonna be ready for that. Like so, it's not like Michigan can do something that can catch DC off guard. Like it's not like like it's not like they showing Bryce Perkins for the first time. Like
Yeah, yeah.
like they got film on them. Like they gonna study this shit and da 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 da. Da. I have a feeling DC wins this one, and it ain't gonna be pretty. I want to be wrong about the not being pretty. Like I want this. I want this
Well,
to be a
I hope this is a game too, but I'm sort of leaning towards like what you're throwing down because last time these two teams played, actually, so this is in week 6, these two teams went head to head, and Michigan beat them. This is at Ford Field in Detroit, though. 38-14 victory for Michigan. This is with Bryce Perkins. This is with Jordan Tiamu, both at the quarterback position for both these two teams, and this was a wire-to-wire victory for Michigan.
I remember that game. It was yeah. I want it to be a game. I want it to be competitive. I especially
Well,
after championship weekend was what it was. Like, it was like 2 blowouts like that. I just think I think DC's riding a high right now. I think that high carries over, and DC wins the UFL championship.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I do think that there's going to be like coming down to the running back play as well. I mean, I think you got Tawatua. I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but I mean, if they can keep a real balance, especially on the DC side with Deion Jackson, Abram Smith, and run the ball pretty effectively, because both of these two teams need to run the football in order to really be effective.
Really be effective here.
Yeah.
Now, if it comes down to like that, and both teams are struggling to run the ball, yeah, give me Michigan. I trust Bryce Perkins to pass the ball a little bit better than Jordan Tiamu, and that's low key kind of the key to beating DC. Like, hey, I'm gonna load the box. I'm gonna put 7 to 8 guys in the box. You are not running the ball. Jordan Tiamu, I'm gonna make you beat me with your arm. If you lose to DC and Jordan Tiamu is accurate and he like it's just his day, then hey, ain't nothing you can do about it. But nothing about 54% completion percentage says I'm confident in that he can do that on a
Yeah,
consistent basis.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm going to take Michigan to win this game. I want to saw Bryce Perkins. I think he's the best player in the UFL right now. I know he's not 100%. I think they would be really scary if he was 100%. The thing is, I just want to see a really competitive football game. Because this is an opportunity for the UFL to be showcased. It's on Saturday. This game is on your ABC affiliate on Saturday night at 8 o'clock. So it's a really opportunity to obviously we talked about this last season with kind of a dud with Birmingham and the Brahmas. But these two teams feel like they're more evenly matched than those two teams were last season. Because I mean, this is kind of a coin toss for me. I think either one of these teams could win this game, and I don't think it would be a shock whoever ends up winning this matchup. I'm going to take Michigan. I think there's momentum there. I think that whenever they have Bryce Perkins under center, they tend to win those football games. He's a difference maker in this entire league, and he should really get an opportunity to play in the National Football League this season. If at least a training camp opportunity. He's earned it. And Jordan Tiamu, if you want to try to take your chance in the National Football League, you've earned it as well. He got 2 MVPs, one in the XFL and now one in the UFL. But I mean, maybe he's just happy playing in the UFL.
That's all fine and dandy, but dude, 50 like teams are gonna see that and be like,
I know.
no.
But I'm going to go Michigan. I think that they have the better overall team than DC, and I think they have the better defense than DC does as well. I'm taking the Michigan Panthers to win this game and to capture their first UFL championship. You riding with DC, TJ?
I'm going with DC.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, that's been our semifinals recap UFL championship preview. Thank you very much for joining us here at Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast if you like what we're throwing down here. We are going to be recapping the UFL championship next week, along with giving you some of our full season recap as we try to be the number one hub for all things UFL. And TJ, I'm David Huffman. Right there is my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. And TJ, what do we do at the Prime, my friend?
We go to bed. I'm out.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll talk to you later today. You have a good one. Get some sleep, man. You guys all have a good day. Stay safe out there. It is beautiful right now here in Fort Wayne. So take it easy. Y'all be safe. And please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast.